talk about a guy who has top 15 potential, but is not talked about like a top 15 wide receiver or costs like one is Diontae Johnson, who I like a lot this year coming up. He left 3 games with injuries this past season, which I get is frustrating, but he was 7th overall for wide receivers and targets with 144. He actually had 10 games with 10 or more targets. He had games where he had 15 and 16 targets, which was huge for fantasy. 6 games with 21 plus fantasy points this previous season, 15.9 points per game. Drops were a concern for some people, but he still was getting fed. Weeks 15 and 16, he had 27 total targets, so they still fed him the ball even in those later games of the season. Juju had 9 touchdowns. Claypool had 11 total touchdowns. Diontae Johnson had 7, so it wasn't like he was trailing like crazy from these other 2 guys. Big Ben is back, and I think that's huge for Diontae Johnson, seeing their connection this past season. Diontae actually had 23.5% of the team's targets in 2020. Najee is on the team, and they may run the ball more than they have before, but they're going to have plenty of games where they have to throw the football. And I know some people say that Big Ben might be preserved a little bit in comparison to what he has been in the past, but when you play the Bills, the Seahawks, the Browns twice, the Ravens twice, and the Chiefs, they're going to have to throw the ball in Pittsburgh, so I'm confident that Diontae is going to get a nice target share. There's too many mouths to feed in some of these teams, but for me, looking at who the target monster was this past season and having that quarterback come back, I'm very confident in Diontae Johnson this coming season, and he has the upside because of that volume to be a top 15 guy potentially. So I think he's a guy I'm going to try to get in most drafts or trade for this coming season.